Transforming the underlying economics of financial services through digital currency will help those who live in poverty directly. It will also support a host of other development activities, including health and agriculture. There's some really good technology in terms of sharing databases and verifying transactions that is talked about as blockchain. That is a good thing. Bitcoin and ICOs, I agree completely. It's one of the crazier speculative things where it's not an asset class, you're not producing anything. Look, Elon has tons of money and he's very sophisticated. So, I don't worry that, his Bitcoin will sort of randomly go up or down. I do think people get bought into these manias who may not have as much money to spare. So I'm not bullish on Bitcoin. And, my general thought would be that, if you have less money than Elon, you should probably watch out.
The next challenge for Bitcoin really is to go from this kind of really niche early adopter thing to you're finding some part in the world of money where Bitcoin really makes a huge amount of sense. I think the big challenges now are figuring out kind of which market niches are going to take off first. So is it going to be international remittances? Is it going to be, tourists traveling? Is it going to be something else that we don't see that's really going to kind of make Bitcoin mainstream? Maybe it'll be some particular part of the world where, they haven't enjoyed a stable currency. Maybe Bitcoin will really start to become mainstream there.
The real big problem with using Bitcoin as a transactional currency right now is nobody's paid a salary in Bitcoin. I mean, I was when I was paid by the Bitcoin Foundation, and that was super convenient for me when I wanted to buy things in Bitcoin, because my salary was paid in Bitcoin. If I want to buy something in Bitcoin, I just spend the Bitcoin I got at the beginning of the month in my salary paycheck. But until that happens for ordinary people, I'm not sure Bitcoin will take off, because otherwise, how do you earn Bitcoin? How do you just get them as part of your natural life?
Any amount of Dogecoin can be minted at any moment in time.
What does that mean?
Like they can just make more.
Cool.
What? No, not cool. Because they can completely deflate your investment because they can just create as many as they want.
Why would they want to do that?
So they can steal your money.
Who's they?
The Dogecoin creators,
man,
who made it as a joke. It wasn't meant to be a thing.
I got faith in the people, man.
Okay.
I got faith.
Regardless, it has no utility. It's not an actual thing. It's not. The other ones.
So I mean,
no, you're right. You're right.
None of this shit
By
had
the way,
any purpose
listen,
before.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Doge to the moon.
It's a common thread in Bitcoin. Be your own bank. The same thing, be your own boss, right? You have no third-party middleman that tells you what to do, how to do it. And I think that's why Bitcoin's gotten to where it is today. It's this feeling of being liberated.
When I saw Bitcoin in 2009, you see a chance to replace the whole foundation. And everything that Elon was talking about in terms of ACH and the credit card networks were built with very different agendas in a very different time frame. And it's crazy that they still exist. And they have scaled, but they just are not relevant to today. And they're certainly not relevant to the future, especially when you consider the entire world.
2 years ago, people did some really unhealthy things about, purchasing Bitcoin. They maxed out their credit cards and put all their life savings into Bitcoin. So we developed some very simple restrictions and constraints, like you can't buy Bitcoin on the Cash App with a credit card. It has to be the money you actually have in it. And we look for day trading, which we discourage and shut down. Like that's not what we were trying to build. That's not what we were trying to optimize for.
My hope is that we can provide a lot of learnings to the digital currency sphere as to how we need to build this mainstream adoption, because no other currency's done that. I think they've all just kind of focused on making something that's appealing to geeks and people that love coding and their security and their privacy, but it hasn't gone those extra lengths to educate the average folks who are, happy to put all their entire life information on Facebook about the need for privacy, security, and a decentralized currency. So.
Is Bitcoin more like Enigma, something really important that we don't know much about, or is it like the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot?
It's the former. Basically, Bitcoin relies on the same kind of cryptography that we use to do our online banking or our purchases at Amazon, but it uses it to allow for transactions that are decentralized, which means that there's no third party between the two persons who are transacting. There's no bank, there's no intermediary of any kind. It's like cash, except it's electronic.
What you're talking about right now is for the next 3 to 5 years, an unbelievably better store of value. It is gold 2.0. Right? The value of gold that hedges the world economy about $9 trillion, right? 1,300 an ounce, of which only $100 to $150 is the actual production value. So all the rest of it is imputed, where Lena, you and I have decided that it's worth 1,300 an ounce. Well, guess what? I can do the same thing with Bitcoin, except now I could do it outside the purview of every single government.
And for the first time, at least in my experience and my knowledge, freedom, true financial freedom, is possible with cryptocurrencies if we have the common sense to use them appropriately.
You can think of Ethereum as the decentralized World Wide Web. People aren't really going to be using blockchain, they're just going to be using applications. So people will continue to use the World Wide Web. It's just building decentralized versions of applications will enable us to do things in a more trustworthy way, and it enables use cases that aren't enabled.
When you're acting in love, you're like a drop of water and you have the ocean as your army. When you act in fear, it's just you and your money. Now you could take your money and put it in Bitcoin, put a credit form, put it in cash, or all your cash, and then stand up to the ocean, and who's gonna win?
Let me explain something to you right now. Okay, here's a $10 bill. This is garbage. This is garbage. Your people in South Africa, you have your rand, right? That's going to zero. That's going to zero. This is going to zero too. Euros are going to zero. The yen's going to zero. The Chinese currency is going to zero. It's all going to zero against Bitcoin. If you don't understand that yet, you're going to be impoverished. You're going to be on the street. You're going to be begging. You're going to be out of business. You're going to be toast.
I'm more afraid of the Fed coin than anything else. It'll totally be central control of the economy and our lives. They'll monitor everything we do by how we spend our money. Our freedom will be gone. So the Fed coin and what happened in China, they just denounced Bitcoin. I think they want to take away all of our rights with gold, silver, and crypto and go back to full centralized control.
More likely that there will be a time when everyone is using utility tokens. In other words, that they're using internet apps and actually a lot of things offline that are made different and better decentralized by being tokenized.
I saw Bitcoin as a better version of gold, actually a better form of money that we've ever seen. And that just captured my attention. I've always understood how gold and silver were used throughout history as money, and how we came to the fiat currencies we have today. And I just saw Bitcoin as just kind of very similar to gold, but better, and it could actually replace the current monetary system.
Can you share some crypto investing advice?
Investing advice, the first thing is to invest. I think
not to be afraid.
Not to be afraid, yeah. I talk about 4 mistakes people make for crypto investing. The first one is to not hesitate to invest. So basically, if you already heard of Bitcoin, then you should own Bitcoin. If you've heard of it and don't own it, that means you're hesitating. That means you're waiting for a good price or something like that. So don't wait. Don't hesitate.
Well, a lot of people measure the health with the price of Litecoin. So right now it's a little bit over $60, $3 billion market cap. But to me, like, the price doesn't matter because it's kind of just all speculation right now. What matters is that Litecoin is on pretty much all the exchanges, all the Bitcoin exchange, cryptocurrency exchanges, and it's being used as a store of value and as payments. So what's important to me is just more people using it as a currency.
Behind the Bitcoin, the technology itself really very powerful. Bitcoin, the thing I want to know is that what value, what things that the Bitcoin can bring to the society. The society can make everybody equal, make everybody inclusive to get the money they need, and making sure it's sustainable, inclusive, and transparent.
A euro today is a euro tomorrow. Its value is stable. The value of Bitcoin oscillates wildly. Of all things, I will not call Bitcoin a currency for this reason, but also for another reason. The euro is backed by the European Central Bank. Currencies are backed by the central banks or their governments. Nobody backs the Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is the most secure blockchain in the planet, bar none. There's nothing that comes anywhere near close to how secure Bitcoin is. You got governments and private institutions and private hackers try to, beat up on Bitcoin every single day since it's been born, and it just makes it stronger.
Within China, everything is extremely uncertain. Any officer of any cryptocurrency exchange in China may not leave. Okay, they're not being arrested at the airport, but they've been told privately that they should stay in Beijing. The rest of the world is in chaos, of course, because no one knows what's coming next. I mean, are they going to ban mining? That would be extremely disruptive to the Chinese economy and to the world.
Bitcoin is a new kind of money. While the cash in your wallet is issued and regulated by governments, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. Like a wild stallion, it can't be controlled by anyone. That means that no one person or organization gets to decide how much of it is used, how much of it is in circulation, or what it's worth. Every Bitcoin is unique and has its own ID that is certified by a super secure technology called the blockchain. You can't make a fake Bitcoin no matter how hard you try.
There is no Bitcoin company. There is no Bitcoin building. There's not even a Bitcoin server anywhere that you could shut down. It is completely distributed. That's what's unique about Bitcoin. It is, for the first time, a way for the two of us to exchange value online without a third-party intermediary. Until the invention of Bitcoin, for you and me to exchange money online, we had to employ a third party, like PayPal, like Visa, like MasterCard, right? And we live in the 21st century. If we want to have a video call to China, we can do that for free. But to send a couple $100, which is essentially just ones and zeros being moved around, costs 5% plus takes over a day.
I think there's a real question as to how much money you want to invest in ICOs right now. So, Pantera has a $100 million ICO fund, and it's great. I don't want to be boxed in to have to invest an entire fund into ICOs. And in fact, Pantera's more recent fund, they're going to have a small piece of it, ICOs, more quant. What we're going to do is have a lot of flexibility in what we can invest in, and our investors want that. So buy and hold on big coins, including small coins, do some ICO work. We might even do some private equity work. We have the flexibility to do that if we want to.
Bitcoin is worthless artificial gold, which if it succeeded would facilitate a lot of illicit activity. Now that is not something I think the world needs. And the fact that it's clever computer science doesn't mean that it should be widely used and that respectable people should encourage other people to speculate in it. Bitcoin reminds me of Oscar Wilde's definition of fox hunting: the pursuit of the uneatable by the unspeakable.